First off, good afternoon and welcome to our SageSure Commercial Lines webinar featuring our Business Development Manager, Gavin Gergen. And my name is Patricia, Insure Hive's Agency Success Manager. And together with Brian, co-founder and CEO of Insure Hive, we thank you all for taking time to be here today. And with that, let me turn us over to Brian.
All right, thanks, Patricia. Yeah, usually with these, we usually around a couple minutes. There's always somebody with technical difficulties or slow internet connections. But I think let's get started. And Insure Hive, what we do every Tuesday, for those of you that don't know, we started hosting these Tuesday open mic nights where we're going to be feature or spotlighting one of our Insure Hive partner carriers to talk about appetite guides, where we're really winning business that I think is helpful, because that's probably the number one question you get, at least on the commercial side, is, that's great, Brian, but where in my area are you actually not quoting, but what the appetite guide says and what the real world is could be two different things. So we like to talk about and bring that up on these open mic nights. If you have any questions or have a risk in mind, usually we find agents do when they attend these. I'm sure Gavin would love to take a look and offer you a second opinion if you have a risk right now to quote. Maybe he can do it on the fly. That'd be up to him. But feel free to use the chat. Patricia does monitor the chat throughout the call. The call is going to be about 30 minutes. And today we'll let Gavin go through his slideshow here, talk about the product. They're really a hot property market. And then at the end, we reserve about 5 minutes to basically any questions. You could either unmic yourself, Patricia will unmic you, or if you don't feel comfortable talking in front of a crowd of 1,000 people here, then just put in the chat and we'll get it answered for you. But we are monitoring that chat if that's easier. All right, with that in mind, Gavin, welcome to open mic night here. We're excited to have you guys. I'm excited about the partnership opportunity, and yeah, I'll turn it over to you, buddy. Take it from there.
Excellent. I appreciate that, both Brian and Patricia. I really appreciate being here today and being able to speak to you all about SageSure, specifically about commercial. A lot of exciting things are happening. To Brian's point, we really are a hot property market that just continues to gain traction nationwide. So wanted to make sure that you all understood what's taking place with our program and what's available. If you're already familiar with it, great. If you have any specific questions, we can get to some of those at the end of this. But wanted to make sure that you all had some visibility to where we are today and some of the recent changes that have taken place that are pretty impactful for our product as it continues to mature and expand. So with that, I will jump into it because I want to be respectful of everyone's time as well. So for those of you who aren't fully familiar with our footprint, if you take a look at the map here, you'll see the 8 states that SageSure's commercial program is currently available in. So what you'll notice is we stick to coastal states, and there's a reason for that. And we'll get into some of the details in a moment here, but this is what we do. This is where we built our brand, is in coastal states, okay? And so today you see 8 states. We're targeting an additional 4 states, Mississippi, Alabama, Oregon, and Washington, and then we'll also look to round out the Northeast. So we're essentially building a big U across the United States. And there's a reason for that. And that's, and we'll, like I said, we'll get into that in a moment, but there is a reason for that. And I get asked all the time, will we ever move inland? It could happen eventually, but for the time being, this is our strength, and this is where we're able to differentiate ourselves in the marketplace. So that's our footprint. If you look over to the left side from what commercial products are available. So as of today, even though I hate calling it a business owner's policy, because when people hear BOP, everyone has different definitions of it, but that is the product that's available today. You get your property. It is structured like a BOP. So property, GL, come with it. You can add endorsements in the portal when you're quoting if need be, such as higher non-owned, EPLI, etc. But that's the current product that's available today. Looking ahead, we have our monoline property product, which is going to be the next product that becomes available. You all will have access to that. And the reason why that's significant is because what the monoline property is going to do is it's going to broaden our appetite. So there are certain risks where maybe you're struggling to place a property risk with another carrier that you typically use or whatnot. But and so you come to us, and for us, the property is a perfect fit. But there's something on the liability side that's just won't allow us to approve it for you. Let's say it's a restaurant and they're doing a bunch of dancing and host shows and things like that. Property is right on the coast. Other markets don't want it because it's on the coast. Now we're unable to provide coverage just because of the liability. So in those type of scenarios, this is where the monoline property is going to be significant. So it's going to broaden our appetite quite a bit. I don't have an exact release date just yet, but just know it is coming here in 2026. I'm hoping as soon as Q2, but we'll see. We rely on our software team to give us those dates. So more to come on that as that becomes available. We'll work closely with Brian and Patricia, make sure you guys receive that communication. All right. So if you weren't familiar, just so that you know, these are the two writing companies that are available through our commercial program. This is SafePort and Insure. Below, you'll see the states that they're available in. Soon enough, you won't have to remember which states it's available. We're targeting to have SafePort and Insure in both in every single state that we operate in. So you'll have the option in every state. But as of today, this is where we currently stand. SafePort is our AM Best A-rated option, and Insure is our Demotech A-rated option. Demotech a little bit more common in the Southeast. So those of you out there, you'll be more familiar with that. If there's anyone on the call that's from like California, it's a little bit more foreign, but just wanted to point that out. So these are our two carriers that we utilize, and you would have the ability to choose between in the portal.
Are those we got a question? Are those admitted or not admitted?
It depends on the state, but for the most, okay. So we're admitted in 5 of the 8 states. So the only 3 states that are non-admitted are California, Florida, and New York. And okay. New York, we're currently working on the filings, and then California and Florida, we're taking a look at. California, if any of you are quoting in California, I don't want to be discouraging, but we probably won't be doing that anytime soon. It's just the DOI is very difficult out in California. But Florida, we are looking at what our approach is going to be, because there may be some opportunities with some of the carriers, some of the other markets that we've acquired in recent years. SageSure has acquired GeoVera and Olympus in the last 2 years, where they do have admitted paper in Florida. So we are looking at some different options, but what's available today, currently non-admitted in Florida.
Okay, thanks.
Great question. All right, so this is what I really wanted to be able to highlight for you all, because as I'm sure you have different markets that you work with. Now, this is where you're going to be able to win. These are the eligible segments for us, but the top 4 is what I typically like to highlight. If you're writing in those, there's a strong probability that you're going to end up coming in with a strong quote and able to deliver for your clients. So lesser's risk, whether it's a strip mall, little grocery stores, office space, commercial office space, things like that. We're going to knock those out the park. We do very well with those. It's a top 2, depending on the state. It's the top 2 nationally. Then you move over to habitational with apartments, condos, townhomes. This is obviously a big one for us in every single state as well. So if you're writing those, know that we do extremely well. Mixed use is okay. So if there's any questions on that, just know mixed use is okay with those. What we are looking for is about 3 units or more on these risks. And we'll get into a little bit more details regarding certain coverages with that in a moment as well, but just wanted to make sure I highlighted that. Restaurants, this is another big one for us. And what I really want to highlight here is sometimes because people think it's a BOP, we can only write a standalone restaurant. That's not the case. So we can write anything from just a standalone, let's say a little taco shop, all the way up to fine dining. And we can write a multi-location. So if any of you happen to come across, let's say a franchise with 6, 10 locations, et cetera, you can put all of those on one policy with us. And we do extremely well with that on a national level. So restaurants, fine dining, franchise, all of that is perfectly within our appetite. But when you think of our restaurants, think non-sports bar. Actually, the best way to think about it, no fun, right? And I say that with somewhat jokingly, but that is the way our underwriters approach it. No fun, so no places where they're going to have like host a show and then host an event, things like that. That's when underwriters are gonna turn it away. But if it's a food establishment, we do go up to 50% liquor liability. So that is important to highlight. So that just because we don't want any shows or any kind of dancing performances does not mean that we're not okay with liquor. We do go up to 50%. I've heard different markets that we compete with are somewhere in the 30-40 range. So that's some leverage for you all if you are writing those that particular segment. Hotels, motels. As long as it fits within our TIV threshold, this is also another good one that we do extremely well with, particularly in Texas. That's the one that really stands out. So if any of you are in Texas, just know if you see those, we do really well. A lot of those Best Westerns or those travel business hotels stays, those are the ones that we typically have on the books. But then also retail, artisan contractors, service and processing. We write a lot of accounting offices. These are all eligible for our program as well. Retail shops, those are the good thing about retail shops. If you're writing those, majority of the time, you won't even have to speak to an underwriter. Those you typically fall in what we call our flow business. And just because it's usually very straightforward, there's not a lot of liability risk that underwriters get flagged for. So it typically just goes right through the system. So once you finish entering the information, you typically are able to go ahead and bind on the spot once you have your premium. So those are good as well if you are quoting those. All right. So I mentioned to you earlier that we stick to coastal states. There's a reason for that, and you're looking at it right now. So coastal appetite is what SageSure was built to do. Okay, it doesn't mean that we only write things on risk on the coast, but it means that we can compete with any other market with a lot of their target business anywhere in one of these states. However, as you start getting closer to the coast, many of those markets begin to drop off. It's not an appetite for them. This is where we excel. So not only can we do it, we're very good at doing this. So between our proprietary CAT modeling, our risk management, and our underwriting guidelines, we're able to weather named storms, and we've been very successful over the past 2 decades in doing so. So there's one of our proudest accomplishments is that after these named storms or some of these CAT losses that have happened, such as like in Los Angeles and California last year, we remain firm. Because of how we approach things, we're not pulling out of the state. We're not making any significant changes that's going to impact your clients. This is a big differentiator for us. This is what we were built to do. But again, don't think that we only write coastal. Just know that if you have a coastal risk, let's say you're writing in Florida, you have a few restaurants along the coast, we're going to do very well with those. Now, as you look over to the wildfire appetite, this is more significant for any of you quoting in California. So what we did with wildfire is in California, coastal isn't as prevalent because you don't see the same high winds that you do in, let's say, South Texas, Florida, Louisiana, the Carolinas, et cetera. So in California, what we did is we applied the same CAT model, but to wildfires. So what we do is instead of going based off of like zip codes or saying this zip code is acceptable, this one's not, this county is acceptable, this one's not. What we do is we go based off the business address. So when you punch in a business address, and this applies to coastal as well, it's going to automatically detect the distance from the brush line. for wildfire. As long as it exceeds a quarter mile, it is then considered eligible from a geography standpoint. Obviously, our underwriter or system still needs to review, the property condition, things like that. But from a geography standpoint, a quarter mile is eligible for our program. It is considered high hazard when you're at that quarter mile, but a lot of other markets won't even touch it. So you'll be able to provide comprehensive coverage to your clients. And I did mention at the beginning of that, and when Brian asked the question regarding non-admitted versus admitted. So even though we're non-admitted in a state like California or in a state like Florida or New York currently, please know that our product looks the same in each one of those non-admitted states. So it looks like an admitted product. It is an admitted product. It's just not technically admitted through the DOI, but it is the same product, same coverages. You're not going to see some bare bone policy just because it's in a non-admitted state. So just keep that in mind if you are quoting with us. Don't let the non-admitted throw you off because it does look like an admitted product. Go ahead, Brian.
Oh, I a lot of agents in Florida, and we have about 5 of them on the call today, asked if this includes wind. Because a lot of markets will quote it, but exclude wind. And they're always looking for markets that include wind, so they don't have to go out and buy it from the citizens pool, and it's a pain in the ass, right? So does this include wind?
Yes, and if you take a look at the product highlights, and I'll do, Brian, I'll actually send you the Florida. I think you guys might already have it, but if you don't, I'm going to send you the Florida product highlights where it breaks down all the coverages for wind. So yes, wind we do wind. We don't do flood, but we do wind.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, absolutely. And not to get segued, but we are looking at something for flood. Well, no promises, but we are actually looking at something for flood. But today, as of today, flood's not eligible, but wind is.
Okay.
So again, when you look at this, just keep in mind this is our differentiator in the marketplace. We can compete for the same business that other admitted markets are going for, our standard markets, but they can't. They begin to drop off as you begin to get closer to either the wildfire brush line or the coast. And on the coast, we get up to 0.1 to 0.5 miles, depending on the region, from the coastline. The shoreline. And again, you don't need to know it. The system does it automatically for you. It'll let you know right away. All right. Now, when we talk about coverages, so from a liability perspective, just we do offer the standard 1-2, but because we do not offer excess at this time, we do also offer the 2 million, 4 million. Okay, so both of those are available to you. So if there's one that's, hey, you need access and you can't get it through us, but maybe the 2-4 satisfies that, just know that is available to you. On the property side, so some of you who may have gone, when you got appointed with us last, in the Q4 of last year or something like that, please know that we have increased our TIV limits. So last year, up until last year, our TIV limits were 10 million TIV per location. That has increased. We are now going up to 15 million TIV per location. And now I emphasize the per location. And what I mean by that is sometimes producers confuse the 15 million TIV as our cap. We have no cap. So if you have 10 policies and they're all at 15 million, you can write a 150 million TIV policy with us, a total TIV, right? So it's per location is where the cap is. 15 million is where we cap. Whether that impacts you or not, just want to make sure that portion is clear for everyone. So we are increasing this. Earlier, I mentioned that some additional products come in. Once we get to commercial package, we're going to be writing up to about 50 million or more. Per location. So if there's any risk that can't fit this 15 million and you wish it could, just know there is something coming a little bit further down the line, not too far down the line, but it'll come after the monoline property. But today with the current product, 15 million TIV is our current cap. We don't have year built restrictions. That's pretty significant. What we do is we focus on renovation dates. What underwriters are looking for is 25 years or newer on renovation dates. Like for example, with like with like something like electrical. They're not looking for you to rewire the whole house or excuse me, the whole building. What they're looking for is more on the electrical panels and things like that. And then same thing with like the plumbing, HVAC. And then roof obviously is something that they're going to be looking very closely at, especially in these any of these states that have high wind. So that is something that they're going to be asking. So just make sure that you're ready to provide any documentation if requested. So if it says, if you said that they were renovated 2 years ago, but then maybe in the picture it looks like it's still hasn't been updated. Like if you look like I use Google, but I'm sure they have their tools. But like you use Google Earth or something, and it looks like it hasn't been updated. They might follow up and ask you for some documentation on it. So just be ready for those kind of questions from underwriting, because obviously roofs is a big deal. For us being writing so close to the coast, writing in these high wind states. So just wanted, but 25 years or near is what they're looking for, but no year boat restriction. The only exception to that rule is California apartments. So I don't know if any of you are writing those, but if you are, just know that we are looking for 1960 or newer. But that's only in California, and that's only apartments in California. So if you write an apartment in Houston, or then there's no year boat restriction. So just want to make sure everyone understands that portion.
What do you consider an apartment? 4 units or more?
3 units or more it would be considered.
3?
Yeah, and because 3 units or more is the technical, but what we typically see is 4 units or more for the most part, and we have no cap in the number of units, as it just has to fit within our TIV threshold.
Yeah, it seems anything under 4 units is personal lines. Anything over 4 is more commercial.
Yeah, I agreed. When I look at the underwriting guidelines, it says 3+, but really 4 is what we're seeing at the bare minimum for the most part.
Okay.
Now, I mentioned to you all that, basically what the secret sauce is for SageSure, which is our proprietary CAP model. So it is proprietary, and it is something that other reinsurers. This is why we have so much reinsurance backing. So we're very strong financially from that standpoint, and we feel very confident going into these tough states. And it comes from our proprietary CAP model, but also our underwriting guidelines. But then what you're looking at here is risk management. This risk management, trust me, I've worked for other carriers. I know this is not unique to SageSure, right? Everyone offers this. Everyone has their different ways that they approach this. What is unique to SageSure, at least from my experience, is we lost control every risk. So we have somebody go out on every risk. Doesn't matter if it's a $1,200 policy or if it's a $200,000 policy. Anything in between does not matter. We lost control every risk. That is part of our secret sauce. We get to tell our writing companies that it passed our proprietary CAP model, it passed our underwriting guidelines, and we've had somebody, some boots on the ground, inspecting the location. They'll provide recommendations if necessary to the client. Some may be more significant than others. Some might be like minor, just suggestions. Others might be requirements. Like, hey, in order for us to continue to provide coverage, you're going to have to address this type of deal. So, but just know within 30 days, it's usually closer to the 30th day, somewhere around there. Within 30 days, we will inspect the policy. Some agents like it, some don't, but just keep in mind, this is what allows us to do what we do. It allows us to continue to operate in these really tough states and expand into other tough states. So when you put those 3 things together, we're able to make our writing companies feel comfortable. I won't spend too much time here. This is pretty basic from a payment options, direct bill only. We keep it pretty simple. You won't see anything that wows you. It's very, very standard breakdowns for deposit or monthly, quarterly, like however you want to break it down. You'll have different payment options here, but the main thing to keep in mind is it is direct bill only. And then, as moving on here, so for those of you, as you know, if you're still becoming familiar, like, hey, I'm not sure if this is a fit for SageSure. Obviously, what we can connect, you can always connect with somebody on our team for some additional guidance. But just know, our team has put in a lot of effort into making sure that we have resources readily available to everybody. I was mentioning to Brian a moment ago regarding the product highlights, which breaks down like the X-Wind, all that good stuff. Know that in the portal that you have access to a lot of resources, from product highlights to class lists, where I have all the class codes on there if you're trying to identify which one it would be when you're entering into the portal. We have underwriting guidelines in there as well. So and we do have it broken down by state. For the most part, majority of them will be very, very similar. Like, that's why I was saying the non-admitted versus admitted. Our admitted products in the states where it's admitted looks identical to our products in the non-admitted states. So that's, you know, that's why I mentioned non-admitted in name only. But we do have it broken down by state. The only real differences you'll see is the one that comes to mind is like artists and contractors. Artists and contractors is available in all of our states except for Florida and New York. And so you wouldn't see those class codes or those underwriting guideline notes in those guidelines, you know, if you're in one of those states. But we do have it broken down by state, and we do have it broken down by class codes information, underwriting information, and just like little cheat sheet of a product highlight. And so you can find all that in the portal. If you didn't already know, all quoting with us is done in the portal. And the more you use it, the faster that it would typically go. So I see we're almost at time here, so I'll wrap it up and see if we can answer any questions. Here's some key contacts. You have my information listed here. I'm constantly communicating with Brian and Patricia, so if you have questions, obviously you can always reach out to them.
But yeah, my chat isn't working, but I was going to put my contact in the chat.
Okay.
Patricia, can you put your contact info in the chat? And that'll be helpful on how to get a hold of us, because we can send you the appetite guide by state. Right now, Gavin, looking on the call attendees, it's mostly made up of Florida and Texas.
Okay.
But we have all those appetite guides, and Patricia would be more than happy to send it to you or put it in the chat, whichever is easier. The guides, and you can put my phone number in the chat as well, Patricia. Anybody can call me.
And real quick, just wanted to for all those of you on the call, just know that if you're working on a quote, there's a live chat in the portal. So if you need immediate responses, just open up the live chat and then a message, and there we have customer service people that should be able to get you a response. If you need a rush or something of that sort, like because you're about to you're quoting us last minute and you want to see and you like our premium and you need an underwriter to approve something, it looks like they're going to approve it, you need to rush, shoot an email over to commercial underwriting at SageSure. Just let them know, like, hey, this property is about to close escrow. We need some coverage by tomorrow, things like that. Those are the ones. Shoot it over. You don't want to rush everything, but because otherwise it creates a backlog. But if you really need it, shoot it over to commercial underwriting. And if you have other questions, you can always contact our salespeople, depending on the state that they're assigned to. So like Texas would be Christina, Florida would be Mark Atcher.
Okay.
Excellent.
Okay. Patricia, let's open it up to see if anybody's got a call, because I don't know if anybody else is having problems with chat. But maybe just unmute everybody. We'll give it a few minutes, and if nobody has any questions, we can all go home. So maybe unmute everybody and see if anybody has any questions.
Allow microphone.
So can you send this PowerPoint only because that was a lot really quick, and I'm afraid I missed something.
100%. Well, 100%. We'll get this over to you. I'll connect with Brian and Patricia after the call.
Okay. And what about shopping plazas?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, we love those. Yeah, we love those. Just keep in mind with whenever there's like a plaza, like, so if there's a tenant that is what the underwriters love is if if almost all the tenants are something that we would write on its own, they love that. But that doesn't mean that that we're going to turn it away just because, let's say, there's 6 stores in one of those shopping plazas, or 12 stores, and one of them or two of them, one of them is like a vape shop or something like that, which we wouldn't write. We're not going to say no to the risk just because of that one tenant, but the majority of the tenants cannot be something that we wouldn't write. That's because then at that point the underwriter is not going to feel comfortable with it. They do have some discretion to go up to a certain percentage, but it wouldn't be over like half. So if it's over half of the tenants is something that they wouldn't write, then at that point it gets it might be a little bit tough.
What are some of the examples of stuff you don't write, like like if a 4-unit strip mall has a bakery shop and a tattoo parlor?
Yeah, no, we'd be okay with the tattoo parlor. I mean, we wouldn't turn it down because of that. Like for example, if you have a vape shop, a daycare, or things like that now it's going to, and now we're at 50%, then that's going to come down to the underwriter's discretion whether they feel comfortable or not. But now if it's the majority, then they'll turn it away just because majority of the tenants are not something we would typically write. So the good news is that we write over 400 classes. So there's most likely majority of the common ones are going to fall into that. So like nail salons and things like that, you'll be all right for the most part.
So if a plaza has like 7 tenants in it and one of them happens to be a daycare, would you guys consider it?
That's a good question. Because I don't want to say no. I think the answer is they could consider it. And what I would do in those scenarios is contact the sales manager, which you're going to see that's assigned to that state. You'll see here on that last page when we get this over to you. Contact that sales manager and just let them know that you're getting ready to submit this, and then that way they can maybe preemptively have some conversations with the underwriter as well.
Did that change for Florida? Because I know Genevieve's in Florida. I thought it was Greg Robitaille was the sales manager.
Yeah, our commercial sales team is expanding. So okay. before it was just Greg and Mark, and we've doubled that, and then this is about to double within the next probably like quarter or so. So we're starting to distribute that. So Mark Hatcher, if for Florida, Mark Hatcher will be the guy, and if you haven't spoken with him, great guy. Yeah, you'll like him a lot. He's really helpful. If you just want to give him a call before you even bother like taking a look at like, hey, should I even think about sending this? Give him a call if you'd like to, or shoot him an email. He's really good about responding about that kind of stuff. But yeah, if it's something like a daycare and you're unsure if they're going to approve it, I think just because if it's like you said, the example you said like 7 stores and one of them is a daycare or something, give him a call and see if he can preemptively speak to the underwriter just so that they don't automatically decline it or something like that. But I would say it's something that since it's not the majority and it's just one, it's right. Something that should at least be considered.
Yeah, that's what my logic is. Like you said, as long as if it's the majority, like if it's a 7-unit and one is bad, but the other 6 are good, you're good. What is the definition of majority? Now, maybe if you have a CVS and then next to that is a daycare, well, that's a 50% majority ratio. Yep. Don't do it. That's how my brain thinks. I don't know if that's in the underwriting box, but
yeah. And like I mentioned, some of it will be at the underwriter's discretion if it gets to that point. So that way we're not boxing ourselves in. And that's why I mentioned maybe give your sales manager a call or email beforehand. See if it's something that they think that they could talk the underwriter into if it's a little bit right on that thin line. Great question, by the way. Any other questions? Okay, great. So like I said, we're very excited to have you all have access to our program. The more that we move forward, you're going to continue to hear about SageSure. So the fact that you have access and are able to already utilize us, I strongly encourage that you get more and more comfortable with our team, with our product, because more products are coming, and you're going to have more familiarity with your sales manager, with the underwriting team. understanding what is and what isn't acceptable as the more you quote with us. And then once these products become available to you, you're going to just have that much more leverage in the marketplace. So definitely, I strongly encourage you to dive in there if you haven't already. Reach out to our team. That's what they're there for, to help guide. And then we try to give you as many options as possible to have someone to contact. Like I said, whether it's commercial underwriting, whether it's calling in, do we have a number for that? Reach out to your direct sales manager. And then soon enough, every state will have their own dedicated underwriters as well. That already started in California. We're moving towards that direction. So it won't be like it won't be random each time that you speak to somebody. You'll know who your underwriter is and be able to build a relationship with them as well. So all of that's coming. This is our trajectory is just going sky high. So there's a lot of movement. So we're excited to have you all a part of this.
Thanks, Gavin. I appreciate you being on the call. On a close out, if anybody wants, what we'll do at the end today, probably the next hour, we're going to send a copy of this Gavin's slide deck, which has been very helpful for me. And we'll send you all a copy of that. And we're also going to include a link to the recording. We recorded all this so you can have it in your swipe file for later. Or if you had, what a lot of times happens is you might have a couple staff members that couldn't attend, and I would share the call recording with them as a review. But once again, my email is brian@insurehive.com, and everybody on the call today will automatically send that to you. So if you have any other questions, though, feel free to give me a call.
Excellent. Thank
All
you,
right.
everyone.
Thanks, Patricia.
Have a good afternoon, everyone. Take care.
Okay. See you. Bye.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everybody.